The students have lined up all day outside legendary Assembly Hall in Bloomington, hoping to see if IU can complete the home hat trick against top 5 teams. It started in December, the only loss for number 1 Kentucky. Then the Buckeyes came to town in number 2 Ohio State. Then the big boys of the Big Ten, knocked off by IU. The big team of the Big Ten is now Michigan State, number 5 in the land. Tonight, the Spartans can win the outright Big Ten title in the Hoosiers' house. We welcome you to the Infinity College Basketball Tip-Off from Assembly Hall in Bloomington, one of the great settings in college hoop. Pretty good game. Number 5 against number 20, the Spartans and the Hoosiers. As we start the final week of the Big Ten season, Michigan State with a win wins the outright Big Ten championship. They already have a share. Indiana still keeping hopes alive for the number 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament. That comes with a bye, and it comes in a week and a few days up in Indianapolis, an hour's drive from here. Hi, everybody. Mike Tirico, Dan Dockage, Jay Billis has got to go to work tour. It's Bloomington. Jay will join us here in a couple of minutes. Spartans already a share of their 3rd Big Ten title in 4 years. Why is this one so special?
Well, there weren't great expectations coming in. A lot of seniors, Summers and Lucas lost from last year. But, Mike, I went to their Midnight Madness. They had a practice at 2 in the morning after Midnight Madness. It was the most energized practice. Tom Izzo and I talked after. He knew right then he had a chance because there was great leadership on this team.
It's been a great turnaround season for Indiana. What's important for the Hoosiers at home here tonight?
Well, since February 1st, last 3 years, Indiana's 3-29. Winning big games is huge late in the season. This is a really good Indiana team that I think played their best game of the year on Sunday against Minnesota.
The Hoosiers and the Spartans coming up as we get closer to tip-off. Thanks for watching the Infinity College Basketball Tip-Off. Let's see how our coaches are inspired.
Inspiration comes from the fans.
Fans play a big part. The environment, the mystique. We try to tell the fans by bringing that energy. It's just as important as a player scoring a basket.
When you're in Indiana, you really want to play well for the Hoosier Nation, for the fans. And I think there's a ton of inspiration in that.
Inspiration is contagious.
What I try to hit on in those big games is playing for the people that have been there before you, playing for the alums, your families, the fans.
My kids inspire me. Watching them, knowing that their individual contributions matter, what the team does, that's what's most important.
I'd rather it be crazy. I'd rather it be exciting. I think it helps you play at a different level.
They'll be excited. We'll be excited. I'm sure there's going to be moments where that decibel level is going to reach the boiling point. That's the inspiration.
Spread some inspiration of your own. Visit ESPN.com/infinity and help your coach win for his favorite charity.
They beat the number 1 team here. They beat the number 2 team here. They beat the 3rd team in the Big Ten here. They've beaten all the top teams here. You got a chance to do something that nobody else has been able to do. That puts you in a special category. That's a category I want you to be.
Packed to the rafters in its 41st season, Assembly Hall with crimson and cream everywhere you look tonight as Indiana tries to knock off a 3rd top 5 team at home here this year. And just a short time ago, after Tom Izzo gave that speech, a greeting for his former assistant and friend Tom Crean as the Indiana coach tonight tries to beat Tom Izzo. As we look at our one-on-one, Dan Dockage, he has not beaten Izzo head-to-head yet.
No, you see some great hair there, and you're going to see some antics, including Judd Heathcote. But what these 2 guys can do, Izzo and Crean, is really coach. Tonight's going to be about adjustments and matchups. Watch the matchup with Cody Zeller. 2 guys inside from Michigan State, big and strong. Nick's long and athletic Payne.
And Payne's one of the starters for Michigan State, along with Draymond Green, Brandon Dawson. Austin Thornton has been in the starting lineup for the point guard. Keith Apley, who did a good job on Jordan Hulls of Indiana in their first meeting this year with Oladipo Will Sheehy, now a starter. Watford, who hit the big winner against Kentucky. And Cody Zeller. More on the big man is our big guy. Jay Billis has got to go to work tour. Rolling through the heartland here tonight. And Jay joins us at Assembly Hall.
Well, real recognized real, Mike. Thanks for sending it over. over here, but, Dan mentioned the pivotal matchup with Cody Zeller, the freshman center for Indiana. And Cody Zeller, in Big Ten home games here in Assembly Hall, is averaging over 21 points per game. But in the first game against the Spartans, he only had 4 points on 2 of 5 shooting. And I asked Tom Crean, what did he learn from that game? And Tom said he learns he has to demand the ball more. He can't just post up with his upper body. It's got to be his lower body and using his leverage. I think he's going to be a huge factor in this game with his play.
We're going to watch it, absolutely, Jay, and great to have you with us here tonight in the Big Ten. Big Ten opener between these teams. December 28th, 2 months ago in East Lansing. Won by the Spartans by 15. Great officiating crew, great setting. Spartans, Hoosiers, here we go in the Big Ten, starting the final week of the season. And Draymond Green has it, the likely player of the year in the conference. Tackling the point guard with Watford out there on him early. Hulls watching Thornton. Different from the first meeting in terms of the defensive matchup here at the start. Brandon Dawson, terrific freshman emerging, good defender, and a great athletic ability. The Indiana native breaks the seal.
Well, Brandon Dawson played off of Will Sheehy, playing off of him. Sheehy was trying to take away the post. When you take away the post from the passer, you don't give up the middle. You give up the baseline. Sheehy failed at it.
Zeller, first shot off the mark. And there's Dawson, 6'6", out of Gary, Indiana. His athletic ability continues to show, the former McDonald's All-American.
Like, not only that, but Brandon Dawson is so much more attuned during walkthroughs than he was earlier in years. Completely different guy, which you would expect. You're not supposed to be the same guy this time of year as you were to start the season.
There he is over Sheehy, no basket. And a rebound for Watford. Michigan State got off to a big lead in the first game. And Hulls, the point guard with the ball right now, could not get going for Indiana. Watford, no. Oladipo, big rebound. He'll come to the line. And the game's first foul on Adrian Payne inside.
Victor Oladipo took advantage of a freshman mistake in Brandon Dawson. When the shot goes up, Oladipo is going to tear at the board. Dawson just turned and looked. Now, let me go back to something that Jay said. In the initial pass in this possession, the ball was in Watford's hands. Cody Zeller had a real opportunity to blast Adrian Payne and post up. He did not do that. He put Watford in a tough spot. He could have helped Watford by stepping over, getting heels in the lane, and getting going.
Watford gives the Hoosiers their first point. Keith Appling averaging nearly 12 points a game, a terrific on-ball defender as well. With the bigger Watford, 6'9", watching the 6'1" Appling. With feet inside, and Draymond Green gets his first field goal.
Now, they set a nice back screen for Draymond Green. Cody Zeller, who was guarding Payne on the perimeter, didn't jump down and take away the basket.
Oladipo went for the dunk and couldn't finish.
That's worth 3 if he shoots it. The dunk's only 2.
That's one of the stories within the story tonight. Indiana's one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country. Michigan State, one of the best three-point defending teams. Oladipo went right back at it, out of bounds, and will stay down here. Jay, that's an important part of Indiana's play over the last month or so. Oladipo's increased confidence.
Well, ever since the Purdue game, he's been playing with a much greater confidence, Mike. And I think Indiana getting a piece of the paint off the dribble is going to be important. They've got to get to the free throw line. They shoot more free throws than anyone else in the Big Ten. They've got to make that a part of this game.
And that's a guy who loves to shoot. Hulls, second in the conference. That's his 57th three-pointer. While leaving it 4. Good defense by Hulls. Here come the Hoosiers with numbers. He'll pull up for 3. Sheehy, that's it. For the Hoosiers. Payne goes aggressively at Zeller and scores. If you watch the win in Columbus over Ohio State, that's something Payne was so good at, being aggressive on the offensive end.
He was great. He's a skilled kid that when he gets his heels in the paint, he's as long and as big and as skilled as anybody in the league. Sometimes he just doesn't look the post up.
Sheehy to Zeller inside. Will Sheehy back in the starting lineup. Third straight start. What a difference he's made.
There's no question about it. Will Sheehy, at the end of the Minnesota game, was going crazy on Minnesota's players, screaming at them. I asked him, what are you doing? Why? He said, I took it personally that they beat us, and he told me, Coach, I'm taking tonight personally. I think he's the key to this game for Indiana.
Appling free for three. Payne got it from Zeller.
It's a high-level game, Mike. It's high level on the court, high level in the crowd. This is a great environment.
Payne off the mark. Christian Watford the rebound for IU. The baseline drive, and Oladipo's been aggressive. He gets it, and he is going to the rack. He's going to the line on the other side of this timeout. What an atmosphere in Bloomington.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by KFC. Bring something different to the party with KFC sauceless hot wings. Now just 50 cents each. And in part by Infinity. Luxury cars that deliver inspired performance. And Staples. That was easy.
If possible, it got louder here inside Assembly Hall as we went to break when they announced the fouls on Adrian Payne, the second on Michigan State's starting center. Dan, take us inside the play.
Well, the first two steps in transition are the most important, either offensively or defensively. Watch Will Sheehy's steps as compared to Brandon Dawson's first two steps. As we roll, he has passed Dawson in two steps, beats him to the weak side. Now, 75% of missed shots are going to go to the opposite side. That's just a matter of Will Sheehy out-hustling Brandon Dawson, getting to the right spot, finishing a play.
Well, Dan, a lot of people might think that's a bad shot by Jordy Hulls in transition. I think that's a great shot because he has rebounding coverage with his teammates running down the floor so hard.
Jay, I don't even think it matters, the rebounding coverage. And you're right, but that's just a good shot for him, period. I mean, if he can click his heels from the right side or the left wing, right wing, left wing, that's a good shot no matter what. Be a bad shot for you or I, but a good shot for him.
Hulls has hit almost half his three-pointers this year. Oladipo at the line, and with the two fouls on Payne, Derek Nix has come in for Michigan State.
Now, one of the things that Nix did well against Nebraska was pass the ball. He's really improved. He scored more, but he has passed better, which has helped their offense flow, Mike.
That was the last game for the Spartans against Nebraska. Good overplay by Oladipo. Took it away. Knocked out of bounds by Draymond Green. So it is Hoosier ball. 62-34 was the count in East Lansing. The Spartans cleaned out the team at the bottom of the Big Ten. Matter of fact, defense has been the story for Michigan State of late. They've held their opponent under 62 points the last 11 games. Zeller inside at Nix. We'll get a second chance. Found Watford, and Nix knocked it out of bounds. Stays down here with 15 to shoot.
That's just a play that Christian Watford just has to finish. I mean, Nix got a hand on it, but you got to know the hands are there. Move the ball around, go get an and one.
Depot, the split, goes to the basket for the hard finish. A hard fall as he was fouled. That's the fourth time he's had the ball. That's the fourth time he's attacked the rim.
Well, he's just blasting off of ball screens, and he's been so aggressive. He split that screen and went hard to the bucket. Fortunately, he didn't get hurt there. He went to the ground pretty hard. But when he attacks the basket that hard, he's going to spend a lot of time at the free throw line because you almost have to foul him to stop him.
We talked to start the show about Crean versus Izzo. It's a really good move by Tom Crean. Nix struggles with ball screens in the middle of the floor against the spread because he doesn't move laterally. So as soon as the clock got under 10, they knew what they were going to do. They're going to bring Nix out. Oladipo split it, as Jay said, strong to the rim. But that's one of the adjustments you're going to see in this basketball game.
Well, and it helps also to have Cody Zeller moving around because he can roll to the rim.
You see 6 free throws in the game, all taken by Oladipo. Indiana's scored the last 6, and that's their lead. Brandon Wood in the game for Michigan State, along with Brandon Kearney.
I got to tell you, if you want to watch post defense, smaller against bigger, don't watch the ball. Watch number 4, Oladipo, play Draymond Green.
An overplay on the other side, taken away by Zeller. Turnover 3 for the Spartans. Pole's got a step. By Atlee, and the fouls have been predominantly on the Spartans here in the early going.
Dan, I'm interested to hear what you think about this, because I think that Cody Zeller and his brother Tyler do a terrific job of breaking contact and getting around in front. Now, he came from the other side here and never really was playing post defense initially, but even when he is, he does a terrific job of breaking contact, getting around in front and knocking that ball away. And his brother Tyler at North Carolina is equally as good at that, if not better.
Well, let me tell you why. At the risk of having Child Protective Services call the Zeller family, Steve Zeller has a pad, boxing gloves, all kind of different devices, and they go into the Hatchet House in Washington and spend tons of time on that right there, Jay. Moving your feet, being physical. In fact, Steve Zeller went and worked with Tyler in Chapel Hill about a month ago, night before a game.
I wish I had that working with you. Pad and boxing gloves.
You did the other day. You elbowed me in the head.
See if the Spartans can get going offensively. Nix comes across. Travis Trice. Just the last 4 with an ankle injury. Good quickness to get it in. Draymond Green couldn't finish. Back comes Holes for the Hoosiers. Eric Elston, first time he's checked in tonight. 32 for Indiana. Bottom of your screen in the corner. Lavelle Jones worked at the top. Shot rimmed out. 5-on-4 this way as Elston fell behind the play. Michigan State offense struggling. 3 of 8 from the field and 3 turnovers. Almost 3.5 minutes without a field goal. Green's calling for it. Nix got to the basket, finishes with the left.
Man, oh man, that's something he had no shot of doing even earlier this year. Midnight Madness game against Florida State we did. He had no chance of making that drive. That was a determined effort by a strong kid.
Ends the 8-0 run for Indiana.
Mike, I think this ball's got to go on the block at Zeller because Nix has not guarded well in the post.
Elston jump stopped and traveled as he lost his footing.
This is not something that Derek Nix could possibly do before. He was either going to throw a high-low pass or reverse the ball and go ball screen, but to be able to get the ball at the basket and then finish jumping sideways, that's spectacular by that kid.
So many of you have watched the Big Ten all year know the kid lost 50 pounds since he came into Michigan State, 25 pounds coming into this season. Much better with movement. Matt Roth has checked in for Indiana. Brandon Wood gets in the lane. His runner knows, tip no. Comes out to Trice. We'll try a third time this trip. Nix gets the rebound. Vintage Spartan possession, but they come up empty.
This is what we saw against Illinois the first half in the 41-40 game. That ball's got to go right inside the Zeller. There's no reason that ball in reversal didn't just get thrown in there and let him play.
4.5 minutes since the last Hoosier field goal. Yet Oladipo's been getting to the line. That's why they lead by 6. Elston at the top. Draymond Green all over with him. Wanted the travel call. Gene Steratore said no, and the shot's down to 8. Cordell Jones got space. Got 2.
He got space because Derek Nix didn't trust that Draymond Green was coming in on the backside to take a rolling Cody Zeller. Nix just got out of their way too quickly.
Clock at 11. Trice free for 3. Michigan State shooting about 30%. A slow offensive start. On the move, Jones. The feed to Zeller. Timeout Spartan. We'll step out for 30 seconds. Indiana by 10 at home. And they're on their feet again at Assembly Hall. Steve and Lori's 3 sons, all Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana. Luke in 05, Tyler in 08. He's got senior night coming up in Chapel Hill tomorrow night. And the freshman Cody, among the elite freshmen in this conference and the country.
Laurie and Steve are on the Jay Billis Gotta Go to Work tour because they're getting up in the morning and they're headed to Maryland.
They can take Jay, man. They are driving.
No. Jay's got a private plane. He can take them.
I understand. Let's see what Michigan State can get going. It's a 12-2 run for Indiana. Good defense at the top by Jones to knock it away. Turnover number 4 for the Spartans.
Tom Izzo's doing everything he can to get Draymond Green a shot. That time he had him as the point guard.
Great shooter, Matt Roth missed the 3. Pritchard went high for the rebound. Draymond Green's got it. Finds Austin Thornton, who gets the finish, and Michigan State able in transition to get a hoop.
That's on Vidal Jones. Vidal Jones didn't rotate back. The ball was on the left side. He was on the right side. Your job as a point guard is get back, get your head under the rim, and stop transition.
Elston from the corner. Quick shot, no. Alex Garner comes in and gets the rebound for Michigan State. Only has played 130 minutes this season. Usually gets a look in the first half of most Spartan games. This guy's a good shooter. Thornton 3. Got them all. A 3-pointer for Austin Thornton out of Sand Lake, Michigan.
Now that's a better move for Michigan State. Put the shooter on the same side as Green. They've had Appling, they've had Dawson being the post feeder. You got to put a shooter same side so it decides, okay, you're going to help or not. That time Vidal Jones helped, got beat by Thornton.
But earlier in the game when Oladipo was guarding him, Oladipo was out in front. I mean, he was fronting him, not letting the ball get in there.
And that's going to be something, if you make a mistake on Green, they're going to go into the post, and he's going to be able to play out of it.
Jones able to draw the foul as Trice fouls the shooter late in the shot clock, and Izzo can't believe it. 3 free throws coming up when you come back halfway through the half.
Championship week is the most electric, nerve-wracking,
Dramatic.
week of college basketball.
Man, it is flat out fun.
Blood, sweat, tears,
heart-wrenching,
Passion.
upsets,
buzzer beaters,
Epic runs.
Championship week is
Fantastic.
Amen to that. The championship week is almost here as we get started with automatic bids, and then the big conferences get going in about a week. The Big Ten tournament will be in Indianapolis. Jay will be at Bill Raftery and Sean McDonough in New York at the Big East tournament. 18-13 here. Indiana leads by 5. Michigan State on its way to being the number 1 seed in Indianapolis for the Big Ten tournament. Here's what the bracket would look like as of right now, with the byes going to the first 4 teams this year, because now the conference is 12 with Nebraska. We'll have the 7, 10, and 6, 11 games on ESPN2 on Thursday evening, and then Friday afternoon here on ESPN. We'll see the 1 and 4 seeds in action. And poor Dave O'Brien, I mean, it's one of the worst fates you can think of. 4 games with Dan Dockich in less than 24 hours, but Obi will make it in Indianapolis.
We eat well, and we stay behind the velvet rope, so everything's good. You know, one team to watch, Illinois. I love what Bruce Weber did. He made practice competitive, charted every single movement, every single winning possession, and then made his starting lineup based on that, which did not include Brandon Paul, Myers Leonard. So what Leonard, I'll give him credit. He stepped up with 15 in the first half up off the bench, and they look good beating a hot Iowa team. They're going to be a tough out in that tournament, mark my words.
It's a huge week for Illinois. They're 6 and 10 in the conference, playing Michigan and then at Wisconsin to close, trying to get to 8 and 10 and then do something in Indianapolis. 2 or 3 at the line for Verdell Jones. Indiana leads by 7. Mike Tirico, Dan Dockich, Jay Billis, stop 2 of his Gotta Go to Work tour here on Super Tuesday, presented by KFC. Indiana trying to beat a top 5 team at home for the 3rd time this year. Kansas has already done it this year, but it's rare. Only a handful of times in the last decade has a school done that. Appling back in at the point. Draymond Green's been quiet. Dawson attacks in the lane. Good defense. Great presence by Pritchard. And here come the Hoosiers.
Well, that play broke down when there was a switch between Oladipo and Sheehy's. Man, they just simply switched to Draymond Green on the right block and took him away. And that play was at nothing. You cannot set screens between Sheehy and Oladipo. They'll just switch it easy.
Oladipo's been aggressive. He's gotten to the line a lot. Here he goes again to the basket. Terrific first half for the sophomore from Matha High School. Upper Marlboro, Maryland. The lead is 9. 11 and a half minutes. No fouls committed. Watford knocked that away. Stays with the Spartans. The clock down at 9. Draymond Green needs 3. And a big silencer from the big senior with a knockdown away from the ball as well. The basket's good, and the foul's going to go on Michigan State. Brandon Dawson's going to be called for. They bring it back up the other way after Dawson's first. Let's remind you that Thursday night we'll see Illinois, Dan just talked about, against Michigan, and Jay's tour will continue seeing #1 Kentucky against Georgia. So that's your Thursday night action here on ESPN. Sheehy knocked away by Dawson. Here come the Spartans. Green joins the play. Oladipo in his way, called for the blocking foul.
Gene Steratore called a block, but this is a pretty good defensive play by Oladipo. He backpedals, gets in position, takes one pass away. That is a heck of a defensive play, and that's a judgment call. It's going to go one way or the other. Maybe he didn't give him a step, but that is a great defensive play by Oladipo.
I think it's a good call.
I do too. I think he didn't give him room. He wasn't set, but that was still, that was a, Ringo make free throws now as opposed to just go dunk. A lot of kids would have given up on the play.
Jay, what do you like about what Green does, not just on the floor, but everything else he brings practice after practice?
Mike and Dan, I think he might be the best teammate in the country. He's got empathy for his teammates. He is hard on them. He holds them accountable, but at the same time, he gives them what they need. I guess if you said like he was in the military or something, his soldiers would eat first. He would make sure they got what they needed, but hold them accountable.
Well, Jay is so right. I mean, if you watch their offensive sets, particularly in the second half, he puts everybody in their place. If a guy doesn't know, he knows you go here, period. Jay's absolutely right on that one.
And Dan, you know this better than anybody. A coach-directed team is only going to go so far. That's probably what they had last year. This is a player-directed team in addition to a coach-directed team, and that makes all the difference.
Challenged Watford on that 3, did Green. Now Draymond's leaking out, looking for the head pass from Appling. Appling waves him over to the corner as Michigan State trying to get back in this year. They've settled the game down after an Indiana run.
I will say this, Draymond Green can get frustrated. We saw it in the Illinois game.
Sure did.
And Oladipo's playing a kind of defense that can't frustrate you.
Dawson got fouled by Sheehy on the drive, and he'll be coming to the line on the other side of the under-8 timeout.
You're going to see the first good look from Sheehy. Watch Oladipo. He goes and helps the drive, leaving Green wide open. It's first great look Green has had all game.
Burr with your studio update. Big 12 basketball over on ESPN2. A&M hosting Kansas State. Chris Middleton starting to get healthy, starting to play better, hits the 3. A&M up 24-20, about 7 minutes to go in the first half. Big bubble game here for UConn, defending national champs, trailing Providence by a deuce, and West Virginia looking for a win, up 7 on DePaul. Mike and Dan?
Yeah, some odd results in the Big East. Thank you, Ryan. He's on that all night. Here, the lead for Indiana's 5. Jay Billis takes us inside the play.
Mike and Dan, Indiana has done a really good job defending, and they're doing it by being physical. Victor Oladipo, who's a really versatile defender guarding Draymond Green here. Once Green gives up the ball, he's going to try to cut off this diagonal up screen, and Oladipo just bumps him off the cut and pushes him right off the lane. Draymond Green can't even get position on that left block that he loves so much.
Dawson at the line. Jay, I was watching College Game Day, and you talked a lot about freedom of movement for offenses. There's a fine line between great defense, well-scouted opponent, and freedom of movement for players.
No question, and you give Oladipo credit. I mean, if the referees are letting you bump and chuck cutters, you do it. But what they, that wouldn't happen in the NBA. That would be called a foul.
Right.
Big Ten refereeing. It's going to tighten up in the second half. We've seen it, Mike. Things that are let go in the first half, all of a sudden it becomes a whistle fest in the second half with things just like that. It'll be interesting to see if the refs make an adjustment.
Oladipo the drive, he threw it away, and on the other end, a foul is called on Green. So a turnover was truly in the Spartans' hands. Instead, Tom O'Neill had the block call. And that'll put Indiana at the line.
You see Draymond Green come over. They're saying he moved up into, because his feet were clearly out of the arc area.
Yeah, I don't think he beat him to the spot. Yeah. I think that's the problem.
It's just a 1-and-1. Oladipo at the line. Free throw attempts 7 and 8 after he makes the first one.
Ball knows it was a good call. He made the free throw.
Tom Izzo questioning Mike Kitts. Oladipo, who had the game-winning layup in the victory over number 2 Ohio State. Trying to get one against number 5 Michigan State here at home. You see the rest of the Spartans in struggle. It's been the 2 seniors, Thornton and Green, carrying the team, and inside, foul called on Indiana. Well, Tom Crean trying to beat his mentor. 0-7 all-time against Michigan State. 6 of them happening here with IU. 1 when he was the Marquette head coach.
Well, you know, when Tom came here, obviously they're playing with walk-ons.
Green hits another 3, his second.
This is going to get interesting because both Oladipo and Green are talking constantly in this game. And Green hit that and let everybody on Indiana's bench know, including the head coach. And Oladipo did the same thing. After he went to the line and made 2 free throws, he let everybody on that court know he was the best player out there.
There's familiarity with so many Big Ten teams, but you come to the Indiana shoot-around, their preparation for Michigan State. There's such a familiarity with what Crean knows from being on the bench and going up against Izzo here over the years. Watford rattles home a 3. Big shot for Christian Watford. Back up to 7. Back up in the volume. Back up on their feet. Green spins Watford baseline. How pretty was that?
Well, that'll be the last time Watford guards Crean.
On the other end, Zeller and 1.
I don't know who's third, but the 2 best running big guys in the country are both named Zeller. Those 2 guys just fly, Mike, and it doesn't matter, make, miss. They just get down the court. They'll rebound, but then they are running, and they are running at full speed quickly.
Boy, it's relentless, Dan, and it puts a ton of pressure on the opposing big guys to run the floor. And they can really wear you out. Derek Nix cannot run with Cody Zeller. He just can't do it.
Cody only had 3 in the first meeting between these teams. His first Big Ten game. He has 7. The lead is 8. Around the perimeter, Indiana packs it in. Appling with the clock at 8. Ghana across the lane. Oladipo the rebound for IU. And here he goes, sensing the rim. He was faster than his dribble. He was so excited to attack the rack again. We hit the 5-minute mark. Here he goes at Dawson. To the basket again for 2. And he hurt his left leg, grabbing at his left ankle as the play goes the other way. It's 5-on-4. Indiana's got to take a foul here. As Oladipo hops back and Ghana missed the shot. That's not the shot you want, 5-on-4. And they're going to have to look at Oladipo, who's reaching at his left ankle after the hoop.
Sometimes you just know you have a guy, and Oladipo absolutely knows he has Dawson. Now let's see him come down. It didn't look like he twisted his ankle. It looked like his right ankle, he just came down on the heel a little bit and jammed it up.
And he goes right back up to the locker room. Indiana's lead is 10. It has a double-digit lead already tonight at 10.
Look, that had to be a foul on Gowner. Watch this matchup. They're going to have to call a foul here between Zeller and Gowner.
Nobody's looking at him. That was like a cage match.
How do you miss that? How are you official and you miss that?
Verdell Jones lost it. Kick Green along the way. Draymond with an attack of the rack for 2. Oh, wow. Draymond Green single-handedly keeping State at the end of the first half.
Well, if you're going to go after the shot, then you have to go after the shot at the rim. Watch Watford here. He just kind of turns in the green. You just got to go up, jump earlier than Green does, and meet him at the rim, not turn your body into an opponent, not affect the shot for a three-point play.
Spartans have 25. The likely Big Ten Player of the Year has 14. Away from the ball as we hit the 4-minute mark. A hold is called by Tom O'Neill. What do you like? Well, let's watch the green bucket one more time.
Look, yeah, you don't turn your shoulder. You go meet him at the rim, and you can't worry about getting dunked on. You just, get him on the arm, misses a shot, let's go.
What were you laughing at?
Because that foul right there was barely a touch.
It was a hold. He held his jersey.
Barely. And
Clearly
Jay
a foul.
just called the previous, not 1, but 2, but 3 fouls, a cage match, and everybody missed it.
The foul was on Appling. It's his second.
And Jay was right.
Jay is usually right. That's why it's a pleasure to work with somebody who's right on a regular basis. Zeller makes the first on the front end. We're going to change that foul. Why can't you come to work every Tuesday night in the Big Ten?
Dan, I got to take the same thing Monday night. I get the same thing Monday that you get Tuesday.
That's right.
Working with Sean McDonough and Bill Raftery. Bill, known as the governor, Dan's the mayor of the Big Ten. Jay pointed out you shake more hands in an arena than Raftery.
These are my people here in Indiana, I guess. I don't know.
There's Zeller's people now. Cody to the bench with 9 points. They changed the foul, so Appling has 1. And they gave it to Ghana, who has 1. Good job by Tom O'Neill going over to get that right. Nix on the spin. Over Pritchard, no.
If Nix can't catch the ball with feet in the lane, he doesn't get much done on the block. He's got to catch it with heels in the paint.
Riddell Jones penetrates. Pitched it over to Pritchard. And Roth also in the game for Indiana. So often in these sets, the clock runs down. Roth pops free for 3. He goes to the right corner for spacing. Jones works it off the left. Shot clock at 8. Watford sets him a screen. Christian's got it. And he's got 2. Indiana over 50%. Largest lead of the night. Green on the bench. He scores for Spartans. Nix missed it. Rebound by Pritchard. It'll get loud if they hit with a 3 here. Jones penetrates. Watford a 3. Halfway down. Thornton, the outside players. They cleared space for Nix, who was pushed from behind by Pritchard. And we hit a timeout with Indiana up 11. Well, yeah, Dan Doncic used to play here, was the coach here. And they remember the night you shut down Michael Jordan. Huh? How much did you pay the kids?
A lot.
Coming up on the UPS Halftime Report, I'll be joined by LaFonso Ellis. UConn, West Virginia, K-State, all in action, all in need of a win. We update the dreaded bubble 12 days from Selection Sunday. And we look ahead to the nightcap from the SEC, Florida at Vandy. Boys, some kind of atmosphere tonight at Assembly Hall. We'll see you in a few.
It certainly is, Ryan. Look forward to seeing you guys coming up at halftime. And the great atmosphere will continue on Saturday, College Game Day in Durham in advance of Game 2, Duke, North Carolina, perhaps Game 2 of 3 between those two legendary teams. And then Texas will take on Kansas. So you see number 5 here tonight, get number 3, number 4 coming up on Saturday. Jay will be down there for College Game Day. Out of the timeout, Green, who has scored the last 16 points for the Spartans. He's been the only stabilizer for Michigan State tonight.
He's been great, but Indiana cannot have Christian Watford guarding Draymond Green. It has to be either Oladipo when he gets back or Sheehy, because Draymond Green is absolutely lighting up Christian Watford every time he's on it. You can't switch to him from Watford.
You correct that. It's the last 14 for Green. Out of the corner, there's Roth with 3. Matt Roth, who's 36 of 64 shooting threes this year. Lead is a dozen. Shot clock at 13. Appling used a Knicks screen. Nowhere to go. Wood from the outside for three. But the 3-second violation called on Nix.
In that possession, they had Sheehy on Green, and Sheehy just covered up Draymond Green. Now Oladipo is going to come back in and take a swing at it. But you cannot have Watford guarding Green.
You know, Sheehy, Dan, all he's doing is getting around in front of him and using his leverage. He's staying low in front of him.
That's it. And that's the same thing Oladipo did, as you pointed out. Just be physical with him, get low, stay in front.
Well, sometimes it can be more difficult for a big guy posting to be guarded by a smaller guy because he can get around in front of him. It's tough to throw over the top.
Yeah, and one time they tried to throw over the top, Jordan Hulse came over, was late, but they had backside help.
There goes Oladipo to the hoop again. He just threw it up to get his own rebound that time. And on the rebounding action, the foul is called. Victor got his hand in the way, and he got Brandon Wood as he was going to get the ball.
Now, here's something that's happened the last 3 possessions for Indiana. Now, Watford bailed them out with a couple jump shots, but their offense has stopped. Against Minnesota, their offense never stopped on Sunday. It was the best I'd seen Indiana run their sets. Nobody ever missed an assignment in their sets. Last 3 or 4 possessions, Mike, their offense stood and they dribbled. When Indiana does that, they have bad possessions, particularly at winning time late in the game.
The foul on Oladipo, his second. He goes to the bench here in the final minute of the first half. Nix over Zeller. No. Boy, there's a lot of contact with the ball when the ball was in the cylinder. Nothing called. The clocks are synced here at the end of the half. Got to get over the timeline in 10 seconds, and Jones wasn't aware of it. The crowd and the crescendo rise at Assembly Hall. And the use it or lose it 22nd timeout taken by Tom Crean with 12.5 to go. He's going to get Jordan Hulse, his point guard, in. Try to extend the largest lead of the night before the break. Teams played to open the Big Ten season in East Lansing. It was 34-16 Michigan State with about 5 minutes left in the half. And then Indiana had a 25-2 run over the end of the first half and the start of the second half. So even though the Spartans have been really flummoxed offensively, not over yet by any stretch.
Not even close, and it was all for Indiana based on transition. Talked to Tom Izzo today, and that's his biggest concern. Transition both ways.
Jones is fouled on the drive. That's the 10th foul on Michigan State with 6 seconds until the half. It'll be 2 free throws for IU.
You know, Indiana has gone to the line. And one of the reasons they've gone to the line, Mike, and they have to get this straightened out at halftime. When you guard an Indiana driver, you have to square your shoulders to his shoulders. Too many times there is an angle that Michigan State defender is giving to Indiana driver. That time it was to Jones. And Indiana is really good at exploiting just a little bit of a turn of the body and getting to the rim and getting fouled.
It was Brandon Kearney that time, his first. One more for Jones. About 18 free throws for Indiana in the first half. Just 5 for the Spartans. Green at the end of the half for 3. Short, halftime. The biggest hole Tom Izzo's team has been in the locker room at the half this year. 3 more than the Carolina game on the aircraft carrier. Here's Jay Billis.
You know, Tom, your team accepted the physical challenge. What would you say you're most pleased with their performance in the first half?
Oh, that we're getting into their bodies. That if you're going to be in a game with Michigan State, it's going to be a fight, and you better come to the fight. And that's exactly what we're doing.
What's your message to your team at halftime?
We cannot let up. We've got to do a better job with screening, better job with ball reversal. Couple of the out-of-bounds situations, as you saw today, we let those go. We got to win the special teams part of this game as well.
Well, thanks. Good luck in the second half.
Talking special teams like his brother-in-laws, Jim and John Harbaugh, who were both here during this past week. Michigan State averages 58 points allowed a game. They've given up 41 at the break. Ryan Burr, LaFonso Ellis, UPS Halftime Report.
Hi, good stuff, Mike. So a 14-point lead for Indiana at the break. Welcome into the UPS Halftime Report. Ryan Burr with former Notre Dame All-American LaFonso Ellis. And Fonz, you look at Indiana, wins over Kentucky and Ohio State at home. They're an elite team at Assembly Hall. Why?
Ryan, that's a tough place to play. I was 0-2 at that place in Bloomington. But the difference in this game tonight is with Michigan State's Draymond Green. Victor Oladipo has done an outstanding job defensively, limiting his touches on the inside. His first 2 baskets actually came from threes. Then Indiana made an adjustment, put Chris Watford on him down in the box. He got it down low, spin to the baseline, scored. And anytime Chris Watford's been on him, they've been able to get him the basketball, and Draymond Green went to work with 16 points. But Victor Oladipo was outstanding in the first half with his ability to be able to get to the rim, Ryan.
Well, Michigan State playing for maybe a #1 seed. Certainly if they win out, they would be involved in that conversation, have to come back from 14 down. When we come back, we head to the dreaded bubble. 12 days from Selection Sunday. Plenty of bubble teams in action as we speak.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the 2012 Buick LaCrosse. Experience luxury as it should be. And 5-Hour Energy, when you gotta get stuff done. Welcome back to the UPS Halftime Report.
Ryan Burr, LaFonso Ellis, UConn. Jim Calhoun had surgery Monday, so George Blaney still running the show for the Huskies. And Fonz, coming off that loss to Syracuse, UConn going the wrong way at the wrong time. Must win tonight against Providence?
I think it's certainly a must win, but they have to get some production from Shabazz Napier. He's no points in this game, no field goals. He's been struggling offensively.
Andre Drummond with a couple of dunks. PC coming back with the freshman. LaDontae Henton knocking down the 3. Friars by a deuce. Under 4 to go. We're tied at 25. Jeremy Lamb. Need him to become a big player for this team.
They have to. 2 for 7 in the first half for a guy his caliber. Unacceptable.
Borderline must win for the Huskies. They lead by 2 at the break. West Virginia also going the wrong way at the wrong time. First half, we pick it up in this one. Dennis Kalichla. Inside, you know what's coming. It's the hook shot.
The hook, lefty.
West Virginia starts the game on an 11-0 run. That's how, when you got to have a must-win, that's how you take care of that.
Especially on your home floor, and that's what they need to do to be able to knock it down from 3, something that they've struggled with all season long.
Kevin Jones, he'll be a first-team All-Big East. Truck Bryant to the lane, and West Virginia taking care of business against DePaul. 47-31 at the half as the West Virginia Mountaineers on their way to a win. So as we speak, 12 days to Selection Sunday, Joe Lunardi has 9 Big East teams in the tournament, with USF being the first team out. However, West Virginia, Seton Hall, and Connecticut, maybe Cincinnati, they got some work to do, Fonz.
Yeah, they got to get hot late in the season, get some chemistry, and really make a push, or they're in trouble, especially Cincinnati, who plays a soft non-conference schedule.
Yeah, late in the season, we got 12 days. We got 12 days to Selection Sunday. It's pretty late right now. Let's move to the Big 12. K-State and Texas A&M. And K-State firmly in the tournament, in pretty good shape, but of course going on the road, always a tough place to play, as defense, a staple of Coach Martin's team.
Well, Texas A&M, I mean, they have the 2 best players back on the floor. It's good to see Middleton healthy and on the floor, but that's a difficult place to play, and this guy needs to be big.
Indeed. So at that point, A&M with the lead. K-State started coming back, though, as you can see. And, 44-33 this game over on ESPN2. Magruder leading the way with 19 points. Game 2 of our doubleheader tonight, a really good game from the SEC as the Gators go on the road to take on a Vandy team that's played Kentucky tough twice.
2 of the elite teams in the SEC going at it. Both depend on the 3-point shot to win.
And Gators shoot the 3, as you mentioned. Vandy, what are you expecting in this game? 2 teams that rely so much on the 3 ball. What are you going to look for?
Well, I'm going to look for the pressure, especially from Florida, because they like to press you all the way up the floor. And this Vanderbilt team had trouble in their last game, turned it over 17 times. And when you have a team like that at home or on the road, you cannot turn the basketball over. I was surprised, especially with the ball handlers that Vanderbilt has on their team. John Jenkins can handle it in the open floor. Gil Byrne can handle the basketball. But when you turn it over, now all of a sudden you fuel this Florida offensive burst. They are terrific in transition. Not a great half-court team, but if you turn that thing over, Ryan, they're out in transition, knocking down 3s, getting to the rim, elevates their defense when they're knocking down shots.
You know, in 2 losses to Kentucky, though, I've gotten a lot from Vandy. I think they are a serious threat in the NCAA tournament to win multiple games.
Well, they have a terrific shooter in John Jenkins, can score it from the outside. They have a terrific transition game. The key to their success is really Festus Ezeli on the inside. He's a guy who struggled with injury early in the season. I don't think he ever fully got involved in the offense, but he's a guy that they can throw it to on the inside, can score. He can also block shots and rebounds. I think they can make a deep run as well.
Inside-outside threat for sure. John Jenkins getting ready for this game, taking on Florida. It's the Gators and the Doors coming up following us. Of course, we got a good one brewing at Assembly Hall. We're back after this.
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.